Good afternoon, everyone. Heather's Homestead here at Pic'n Faith Farm. Just wanted to show you a couple things with the garden and give an explanation about a couple things I had some questions about. It is, excuse me, April 14th. Just had a nice rain. Here's an archway with teasing Georgia climbing roses. This is its second year. So I had a friend of mine ask about how to put a garden in like this. Maybe not this size, but similar. And I just wanted to go through the steps of how we managed to do this. Let me count real quick. We have 31 beds in this garden, most of which are 4 foot by 12 foot. So this area was woods when we moved in, and we cleared the wood lot and got rid of as many stumps as possible and put down, it was an in-ground garden at some point in time, but we decided to do above ground because I didn't like the soil. It was very clay. It just was hard to work, and I wanted to put some raised beds in. I like a more manicured look, and I like to be able to divide things out and have a little bit more control over the way things look and the soil. So we did this. So what we did first was put down black weed fabric. I bought it off of Amazon. I think it's called DeWitt or DeWalt. I think DeWitt, DeWitt brand. And here is what it looks like. I have this in my other portion. It's all ripped up right there because we just got done blowing all of the leaves and stuff off of it from last year. But this is where we put our vining things like watermelon and cucumber and pumpkins and stuff like that. But anyway, this is the plastic. The water is able to seep through it. It's weed suppression. So we put that down under all of the mulched area. But the first thing that we did, I guess I should have said, was we built the beds. So we just screwed them in. This is untreated wood. You can get 3 4-foot sections, obviously, out of the one 12-foot board. So it's 12 by 4, 12 inches high, 2 inches thick, the boards are. And we put them into the places that we wanted them. And then we put the weed fabric down and then covered it with mulch. And you can have, well, it's wood chips, it's not mulch. So you can have wood chips delivered by any local tree company for free. They'll just dump it. You just have to contact whoever you see on the side of the road, or maybe just call their company and ask if they'd be willing to drop a load. It's actually a lot of chips that they deliver, so it might be overwhelming, but that's how we managed to do all of this area. So built the beds, put the plastic down, put wood chips in, filled all of the beds with compost from my local dump or municipal area. It's usually $10 for a load. I'm not sure how many tons it is, but like a dump trailer or a pickup truck load, it was $10. And we brought it all over here and put it into the beds. And the first year, the plants didn't love it because it didn't have a ton of nutrients. So I did have to add some bone meal, blood meal, chicken manure, whatever I could find at the local place, as well as my chicken coop clean out and my barn clean out for my horses. So we did mix that in, as you can see, in a lot of these beds. Over the winter time, we do put barn clean out in here, and it helps to add nutrients to the beds. Here's a bunch of little peas coming up. So the first year, it wasn't as healthy as it should be. It didn't hold as much moisture. So when you add in wood chips or leaves, not wood chips, sorry, barn clean out or leaves, chicken manure, any kind of organic material, it helps to hold moisture in the soil. and makes it better for the plants. So we've done that over time. But the first year, it was simply just compost, and it grew well. I did have to feed the soil a little bit more with the things that I mentioned previously, but it did grow well, and it's super black. This is a bed that we just topped off. It was a strawberry bed. They weren't doing as good as I wanted them to do because this was the very first bed that we built, and we just filled it in with native soil that we found after doing like a project. So this bed was not, it was very compacted, and the strawberries were not doing great. So we just filled it in. I'm going to replant them this year. This bed, however, which is full of strawberries and even have flowers already, was with the compost, so it does really well. So after we got them in, we filled them in, we were able to plant in them, and then my friend April was asking about how to do the cattle paddle arches, which I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, I think I have 12 of them in this garden, but I wanted to show you here. So cattle panels or hog panels are these 16-foot metal sections that you can get at Tractor Supply or your local animal feed store, like the mill for anyone that's local, or a Tractor Supply or any place like that. The hog panels are much shorter because they're meant to keep hogs in, so they're like 2.5, 3 foot. The cattle panels are much taller, they're 4 foot. And they all have 16-foot runs. I went and got the 4 foot because my beds are 4 foot. So it fit in there perfectly. So what you do is you just bend them between your beds. These beds are 4 foot apart or 3.5 foot apart. And you just bend them to fit how you want. And you use a step-in post, a metal step-in post. You can get that at your local feed store as well, and put them in to help keep the cattle panel in place. And I haven't had to tie it or zip tie it or anything like that. Just the pressure is able, I have it looped in and out. Just the pressure of having that post is enough to keep it upright, and the pressure pushing against the wood on either side because it wants to fling back open straight is enough to keep it perfectly in place. So April, that's how I did that. If Nicole wanted to see this video and see how I did it. And then also I wanted to say for these beds, I also use cattle panels down the middle because my tomatoes and peppers not so much, but tomatoes really need to be anchored, and those flimsy little tomato cages are just not enough to hold them up properly when they really get heavy. So I will put all of my tomatoes in these types of beds, and I use clips. Let me see if I can find them. Oh yeah, they're everywhere. I still have to clean up. I use clips like this. They're on Amazon, tomato clips. And as your tomatoes grow, you just clip them, the stalk up against this, and it helps hold that in place and keep them from falling on the ground. What else? I think that's all I needed to say about how we put this in. Hopefully that was helpful. It's not hard to do. You just have to go one step at a time. I used the free wood chips. I used $10 compost from my local place. The most expensive thing was the cattle panels, which are about $24. And these raised beds, which my local place, these boards are now $54 for one of them. So that's a little expensive. We just planted all of our brassicas. I did not start these. I bought these. I did not start early enough to plant or to grow them myself. I always think to do it like back in February, and then I'm like, no, that's too early, and then I don't do it. So put in cauliflower, broccoli, and cabbages, and cleaned off all of this plastic, this weed tarp, and it's got little holes burnt in it that you can get a weed torch and hook it right to your propane tank and burn little holes in your plastic so you can plant right in them. You can do this with squash. I use this for my vining things, like I had mentioned, like watermelon or cucumber or pumpkin, stuff like that. But you can also use this for cucumber and strawberries, tomatoes, however you choose to do it. But this really cuts down on the weeds if you didn't want to do an in-ground bed type situation. So that is what we've got going on. Haven't done the majority of the planting yet. I've just started with some of the cool weather crops, such as peas and carrots, and onions will go in here this week. So anywho, hope you all are having a good day. April, I hope this was helpful, and we'll get back to you soon. See you later. Bye.